all you can.
Okay, you've clicked on this video mostly to see what I'm gonna say about this game, but I honestly want to do the best that I can to put a rest to all of the echo chamber conversations and articles and give this game the fair review that it deserves. Because under all the corporate greed, Battlefront II is a decent game. In fact, this is probably the kind of quality that the original 2015 release should have had when it launched. Before you click away, let me tell you that I'm not here to play defender for EA, because honestly, loot boxes are awful and shouldn't be in your game unless they're purely for cosmetic purposes. But hang in there, we'll talk about that in a second. Starting off, Battlefront 2 has a lot more going on than its predecessor, and it definitely shows. Truthfully, I would expect as much out of a sequel from a AAA developer, so that's not really saying much. But man, oh man, does it improve on the admittedly unfinished game before it. The most apparent improvement is the single-player campaign, and the fact that there even is one. You take the role of Iden Versio, a Special Operations Imperial Trooper after the events of the original trilogy. Along the way, you'll also meet and play with some familiar faces, and oh, holy shit, Han. I know it's November, but damn man, what happened? And while overall the campaign is enjoyable, it has some pretty clear pacing issues and fails to make an impactful meaning on the lore between episodes 6 and 7. The story bounces around so much that it's hard to connect with Iden and the rest of the squad because you're playing as other familiar faces destroying everyone in your way, which is fun, but the story definitely takes a hit for it. But as I stated, the game plays extremely well. Some of the most outstanding moments are probably the Starfighter sections. In fact, they're so good that they could probably stand out as a new Rogue Squadron game. It's fun, fast-paced, and the writing is witty as all hell.
Need to focus our fire on that Star Destroyer's shield array.
Hey, you don't give orders here. All units, we need to focus fire on that Star Destroyer's shield array.
I hope you're taking notes, EA, because this alone would be damn well worth the price of admission. Along with the campaign, the arcade mode makes a return with different battle scenarios from the light and dark side of the Force. There's your typical challenges that go up in difficulty for extra challenge, but the coolest addition is that you get to make your own challenges for some local co-op fun. But because I don't have any friends, I didn't get to test this out, so I hope this ends up being somewhat cool for you. And while the campaign and arcade modes are all fun and well, let's get down to the nitty-gritty, the multiplayer and loot box based progression. Let me say first off, holy shit, people need to calm the fuck down. Not about the loot boxes, but about the unlocks. To the guy who claimed that it would take over 2,000 hours to unlock everything, I don't think you did your math quite right. Yes, most of the game is based on progression from loot boxes that you can either earn through rewards by playing the game or by buying them with real-world money, which sucks because it's not going to stop anyone from just buying $100 worth of loot boxes and just getting all the stuff they need to have an advantage. But everyone that has reviewed this game has failed to mention the fact that you're constantly being rewarded by the game just for playing it. Not only in loot boxes, but credits for unlocks and parts for upgrading and unlocking star cards. And this is where a lot of the controversy comes into play. Yes, these cards do give you a distinct advantage, but the thing is that I've never felt like I've been at a disadvantage in the actual matchmaking. And trust me, I've got the evidence to show that you can wreck the other team without having any advantages at all. Let's take this heroes versus villains match for instance. It's all good and well, I'm playing on the dark side of the Force, playing as Darth Maul, my boy, and let me tell you, these people are killing me right and left. Well, 4 times, but you know, right and left. And when you die, you get to see the person that killed you star cards. And yeah, these are some pretty sweet cards. But just take a look at this endgame screen. Yeah, that's right. Same game, same everything. Cross my heart, hope to die. I don't know if I was just playing well, or if the teamwork was amazing, or if the other team just sucked. But the point is that just because someone has a tiny advantage over you, doesn't mean that you can just count yourself out. That's quitter talk. But let's come at this from a progression standpoint. Does being able to unlock more things specifically through loot boxes suck? Oh hell yeah it does. Give me something more akin to the old Call of Duty multiplayer progression any day. It can feel like a huge hurdle when you look at everything, but once you actually start knocking out progression rewards and getting into the game, you'll find that it's a ton of fun. Not to mention the fact that this is one of the prettiest games I've looked at in a long time. But going back to unlocks, you'll probably unlock most everything that you want within 5 to 6 hours of the multiplayer. Because let me tell you, some of these star cards are absolutely worthless and there's no way in hell you'll ever want to unlock it. And this is coming from my own play experience. I unlocked Darth Vader after just playing the campaign and a handful of multiplayer games. It's really not as bad as everyone is making it out to be. Yeah, it's slow as hell, but it's still fun. Combat is much faster than before, and everything as a whole has a more fine-tuned feel to it. From the weapons, abilities, hero characters, and hell, even the maps feel more robust than before. It's a damn good game, and it's fun to play, and was everything that the original should have had at launch. But with the loot boxes, it feels like a clear jab to the consumer. But with the assumption that the DLC is going to be free because there's no season pass, did they just assume that the game wouldn't sell well, and thus needed to add the microtransactions? It's a freaking Star Wars game, man. The product basically sells itself. There's no doubt that Battlefront II is one of the most controversial releases of this year. But despite all that, I still feel like this game is worth your time. But maybe just not right now. Oh, you want to know what's really funny? Is that when I finished this script, EA just pulled the premium currency and all the microtransactions are put on hold until people chill out. But honestly, there's no telling whether they'll do right by the consumer. I mean, hell, they already tried to make one of the most profitable brands of all time even more greedy than it ever needed to be. There's always the possibility that EA will be nice and continue to make patches and adjust the balance of their broken system. But aside from that, this game is everything a sequel should set out to do. It looks, sounds, and feels exactly how a Star Wars game should be. And that's a lot more than I can say for other games that have the Star Wars name attached to them. So if everyone could just stop with the whining for like 12 seconds and give this game an honest chance once the kinks are ironed out, I'd really appreciate it. Have a good day, have fun gaming, and fuck microtransactions. I've been SamBam, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.